How is everything?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
So far, so good. Kind of been taking today a little bit on the easier side, just because last night was interesting.
Yeah, the Latin convention.
Yep, put me 50 over where I usually am, so can't complain, but still weird.
It's gonna be weird doing this with one person.
I will do my best to try and not be weird.
No, you're gonna be. You'll be fine, I'm sure.
Uh,
There's nothing that could go wrong with Reyes.
he's a totally normal, well-adjusted individual. This is can't go anything but right. Oh.
Do we even need to recap?
I remember it very distinctly. Okay.
Oh. Okay. So, it is the very next day.
Mm-hmm.
In the morning, you wake up, and as you stretch and look around, you notice some things. One,
Okay.
Hivid is awake. It looks like he's been up all night beside a body, holding a vigil and preparing it for burial. Two, Nimbus is nowhere to be seen.
As far as Reyes goes, it was like he felt secure in going to sleep, but like it was a restless night and not high quality rest. um. Okay. So he will kind of probably just kind of watch Hivid after kind of getting up. Just look over and just contemplate things. Just silently, just present in the background. Just observing, taking it all in.
You're awake.
Okay. After spending maybe 5 minutes or so just kind of seeing the two of them, well, the one of them, going through their oceans, gonna swing over to the other side and head out the building. Probably just make his way to somewhere where there's more noise going on, just something else to break up his flow, the break up the everything going through his mind. So I believe there was like a small mess hall here.
Yes.
Okay.
There is a breakfast being prepared right now, but, like, I'd say as you walk over, you see Nemesis walking back from the jungle holding a shovel.
Ras would acknowledge with like a small wave.
He'll wave back.
Not particularly getting up to anything, just kind of sticking around in the cantina, I guess.
Okay. He heads to the building you just came from. There, I'm not going to lie, there is some gossip at the canteen, to use your words.
I would expect that to be the case. Just kind of want to listen in on hearing what people are saying.
Right now, it's mostly just while people are sleeping, getting ready for bed, one of the prisoners managed to escape. They're still not sure how, but it's been taken care of. And they're just wondering how.
Ras is certainly not going to be saying anything about that. As far as he's concerned, the uncertainty is a good thing.
Eventually
after... Oh, go ahead.
Some of the more magic user types that Sylphas brought with him are also present. And there's some particularly hushed conversations about Sylphas being interested in the body.
Okay. That's... If Reyes would clue in on anything, that might be... That would be what he's interested in, because, I mean, on one hand, Reyes' association with magic is, that's cool, it works, I don't really understand it. But he has seen people get brought back before. He has understandings of what that could entail. And so... he would be interested in just kind of maybe listening closer to that side of the area.
Okay.
If that involves needing to get closer or anything, he would do so.
What you get, no roll or check required, is Sylphas has an experiment in mind. But Hivid, being a grave cleric, is unwilling to let Sylphas have the body. And this seems to be a topic of frustration for Sylphas. to say the least.
Is there any sort of insights as to what the experiment might be? Anything like raising or just trying to communicate? Or do
I
they
think
just try
for
and kinda keep
this,
that
I'll need a perception check.
Okay.
Or insight, your choice.
That's gonna be perception.
I figured as much.
Yeah. +3 versus +6. So 19 total.
Okay. You don't quite catch the full experiment, and knowing Reyes, even if you did, you probably wouldn't fully understand it.
Mm-hmm.
But you get the idea that it would involve one of the automatons as well.
Oh. Me, the player, is beginning to piece this together. Reyes, probably, yeah. No. Interesting. He will kind of make his way up and just kind of head back towards the main camp area where Hiven, now Nemes, are. Heading back over in this area and just maintaining himself kind of in the background.
Okay. Just thinking of how they would put this.
It's all good. I take it Faya's still asleep right now.
Asleep / T-posing in a corner.
Completely fair.
This will be more of a thing once we have Andrea back. But the first thing that Duck does once Faya wakes up is finds a stick and bonks Reyes on the head.
Fair.
We'll get there when we get there, though.
Does Duck make any sounds while he's sleeping? Is it like a... Or is it like... Or just like complete silence or like...
Kind of a dog snore.
Dog snore. Okay.
But other than that, no noise. We're going to be in the jungle in a few hours. There's some final preparations to make.
Okay. What sort of preparations? What are...
We'll take care of that, but I believe you have someone you need to talk to. And
Yeah.
as he says that, a guard from Grezok's ship enters the bunk area. Barracks, that's the word.
Grass would look up at them, kind of having a look of, it's too early in the morning for this, but at the same time, he'd just get up and kind of go with them. Mild perturbance, but more than willing to comply.
Because not complying would look suspicious.
Oh, yeah, and that's just not who he is. He he would venture out with the...
They shall lead you onto the ship. Okay, he leads you to a door where there are 2 more guards posted that are not pictured.
Mm-hmm.
And they let you inside.
Okay.
I don't actually have a map for this.
That's fine.
But where? Okay, yeah, there we go. But let me just drop that token in. Inside, you see a large book room with bookshelves lighting one wall. A large desk is in front of you, and on the other side of it stands Grezok. He is currently looking over a map of the continent with a grid drawn over it. And inside certain coordinates of the grid are what appear to be gemstone paperweights of various colors.
What kind of books are on the shelf?
That's a good question. Mostly history. Some records from the country. Battle strategy books, I suppose, in a way. There's like one book on music that seems very out of place.
Or else would want to just kind of pick one up and kind of thumb through it, kind of looking through stuff. Just the part of me that loves narrative irony would say it would be the same book that blew up on the airship in the first episode, and he just doesn't recognize it. But just kind of like thumb through, look through things, and then eventually make his way over to the table beside Grezok. Kind of just book in hand, just holding it casually, just kind of as a prop, something that he can just kind of grip and hold onto as tightly as possible if he needs to.
That is completely fair. When you say beside, are you next to him now, or?
Yeah, Reyes would kind of, upon entering, make his way up, kind of look around, pick up a book, and then eventually make his way next to him and kind of be looking at the map, if that's what Gressok is doing as well.
That is what he is doing, but he quickly notices your presence, and please take a seat.
Immediately stand back as he turns around and kind of go right on the back heel, and then take a seat as directed.
Okay. Now, let's just get straight to business. What happened last night between you and a prisoner that you had previously brought?
I went and just kind of talked to him. We had shared histories, experiences, worked together on previous missions. I left. He ran, and I acted. That's the short of it, that's the whole of it.
How long have you known this person?
On and off for about as long since the start of the campaign. I met him on a mission during which went a little bit south. You've definitely been briefed on that. It's the only reason we have this location here. He died. We brought him back. Then we brought him actually back to home. Then you brought him here, and with everything we found, we figured might as well check in with seeing what's up. Nothing wild, just... He's on the opposite side, but there is a respect. He was a strong leader, and all things considered a decent individual, if not on the wrong side. Crafty. Annoyingly so, actually. But the job's the job, and so that's what I had to do. Oh, that's not a good sound.
What?
Oh, I heard sound like something was activating, and I thought it was like, oh no, did my internet just cut out? And looks like the answer is no, which is surprising, but good.
For once in these endeavors.
Yes.
Did you talk to him?
A little bit.
What about? Did he say anything I need to know?
Family in the countryside. They more than likely assume he's dead. Probably for the better, now that he is. Hasn't changed. Grandly disillusioned with everything we found under the rocks makes sense. Just talking straight. Nothing but the bars between us. I didn't reveal any natures of the plan. He didn't let loose any sort of plan from the city. It was two people dancing around truths that neither of us wanted to hear, and so we both told the little bits, the small stories. And that was good.
Was he doing anything while you were talking to him?
He didn't seem to be. But I've made that mistake before.
All right. Thank you for answering these questions. Just some things that I needed to clarify, all things considered.
I don't blame you. The official reports and paperwork must be genuinely nightmarish.
They always are.
Do you have any plans for what's going to become of him? I know Hivid and Nemes seem to be digging a nice big pit, but I want to know if there's any final official standing word.
I am letting the Grave Cleric take care of it. He knows that business better than anyone else here.
That works for me. Though I was out this morning looking around and just kind of appreciating the morning air, and there were whispers that I heard of arcane works that might be done to the body, perhaps against those wishes. Mentions of the automatons below might be worth taking a peek over in the mess hall. I mean, I'm sure you've got private chefs and such on board here, but
if any of the necromancers have complaints, they can take it to me.
Honestly, with as slippery as this guy is, put him in a hole 6 feet under, he's probably going to find some way to wriggle out of it.
We tend to do
Let's
that,
just-
don't we?
It's become a bit of a habit. But no, I just wanted to.
Thank you for letting me know.
Yeah. Cool.
Now, if you wouldn't mind putting that book back on my shelf, you may take your leave.
Yes. He will kind of slide it back on there and just head on out.
Before you do so, I think I'd like you to make a... what is your passive perception?
Be 16.
As you put the book back where you got it, or at least approximately,
Okay.
It is... how do I put this? It's a book on Reborn and how they work, and sort of a quote-unquote self-help for if you or a loved one ends up being one.
Ah. I guess we'll head to the door, open it up, and then just kind of quietly make his way out.
Okay. Anything you do once you're out?
Just take a deep breath in and out. Then make his way back towards the barracks. Oops, that's not right.
I didn't know that was unlocked.
He's gonna start up the ship and fly away.
Is it the worst idea?
Yeah, but
I'd say Frigga's up and moving around at this time,
okay.
as is basically everyone else. So if there's anything you want to say to anyone in particular, go ahead. You also have a giant mechanical dragon in the basement.
That is true. You'd probably go towards Frigga.
Hey.
But he doesn't also know what to say.
Is everything okay?
I think so. Just resolving yesterday's excitement.
How's that going?
Easier than I anticipated. Not great, but easier.
Could have been worse. The other one could have escaped too.
Don't Dragonborn shed? Like, I'm certain that scale and enough time and chipping away at it could get... You know what? I'm not even gonna... That... Yeah. Absolutely. You know what? If the other one does, that one's your... You take the shot. Gotta split the load.
I genuinely don't think she'll be going anywhere anytime soon, especially after seeing what happened last night.
Yeah. That... Yeah. So,
Yes.
I guess we're gonna be heading out soon on this
I
legal mission.
believe we have 3-4 more days.
Feels like tomorrow.
Yeah. Is that... I genuinely can't help but wonder if that is going to be enough time for you to practice the dragon.
I think I've got enough down that it should work for as long as we need it to. Then if it goes down, wasn't ours in the first place. Just try and use it to take out as much as what they've got. Run away, because I'm sure it's going to make a big boom.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. But... hopefully it doesn't go down, because if it does, you and whoever you have happening to be standing on the head would be going down with it.
Yeah, that would be rather bad.
We should get you like a parachute or something.
Glider, wingsuit, ejection seat, something. Leave it to Ventheim to not go with safety standards, but also simultaneously not have any, reincarnation. Like, what's up with that? It's rather paradoxical.
She shrugs. I've even heard from Nemesis that they've been a little hypocritical about that recently.
Be surprised. I would not be surprised in the slightest about that. I mean, after all, our guy here's come back once. I mean, to be fair, that was my fault, but, still...
Well, that's an exception. Apparently one of their own brought back one of their own, is what I'm...
Ooh. Now, that's some juicy gossip. Which one fell? Dropped? Is no more?
So you know about Fornius?
Yeah. He walks again.
Apparently, they're... Pardon?
So he stumbled, fell, and walks again? Or?
No, no, no. As far as I'm aware, he ain't coming back. But apparently there were some other gears in the room when it happened, and one of them fell and walks again.
Huh. Think it's resurrection magic, or you think it's a robot? 50-50 guess.
Nimbus says resurrection magic, and he would know that better than anyone else.
You know? Sounds better.
You're really on the whole robot thing, aren't you? Not that I blame you, but...
A bit. Once you find a small unit of soldiers in a bunker beneath an island meant for birds, you start to ask questions.
Yeah.
Because what we found, we found that it was a reclamation project. They come from elsewhere. These were just a couple of them brought back for spare parts. Like, there's absolutely gonna be manufacturing, assembly, other areas that might have gotten so much further than here. There could be another dragon. We just know that this place was off the radar and off of their maps. How many other places are there? There could be... There could be a whole lot of sorts of things, but... If this was the only one, I'd be surprised.
Honestly, I'm not sure I would be.
Do you know of any other place? How, are... I hope you're right. For all of us. Genuinely. That would be...
You could always try asking the prisoner, but I'm sure you could coax an honest answer out of her, actually.
Okay. There's still something about this whole thing that doesn't quite add up. But I don't know what I'm looking for, so I don't know where I'm going. And I'm probably not the right person to be following those leads, but...
What doesn't quite add up for you?
It feels easy. I mean, everything about this seems... The one who came back from the dead. Do you have a name for them? hypocrite, the blasphemer, whatever they want to call it, the corrupted, the returned, the reborn.
Eris?
Do we know which side he's on? He with us?
She seemed pretty Ventheimen last when I talked to her.
Are they an advisor, a higher up? Any of the above?
Don't believe so, no.
How did they get away with it then?
Well, the fact that the Duke was on a floor with a dart through his heart probably helped with the chaos.
Yeah. But why would they go for Eris and not the Duke? What's so special about this one guy? Like, Grezok was on the floor, dead, next to me, and you went for me over him. I mean, I'd be happy to be back, but I'd have questions. As I'm sure most others would. Appreciative, but... We got out of Ventheim airspace with ye olde pallid elf over there. Surprisingly unscathed. 2 Ventheim prisoners.
Unscathed?
Messed up a spider. It feels... It feels like we're being set up. Like... Don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Leaving in 3 days.
Well.
Do you know where this Eris went?
I believe she's still in Ventheim.
How did you get out of the prison? I know it.
While Nemes was causing a hell of a ruckus in the other hall, I managed to pick the locks. They're Ventheimans. They don't know how he works. He just laid still for a few days and they thought he was dead.
Did you ever meet this Eris at the prisons? I'm just trying to figure out them.
Hey, Reyes, could you roll me a history check?
Okay. History is 1. Oh boy.
Hey!
18.
You know Eris.
Right. Well, we met, but like I wasn't really kind of cluing onto them very much. What would I kind of pick up off of my memory of them?
Well, it depends. What exactly would you be trying to recall about them?
Okay, so Charlie Day conspiracy board here. Um, I know Eris worked with um, Asteria. That doesn't really draw me much conclusive information, but I do know that she survived the. So Eris definitely knows a lot more about that than what is generally let on. Um, I know that Eris is resurrected in one form or another, probably not completely reborn, but still generally a taboo. They have experience over other gears. Frigga was familiar with them despite having been in prison. She mentioned that Ventheim doesn't really know how the Reborn work, which, fair, and Nemesis, and they were able to pick locks to get out of prison, but there were 8 people in prison. Now that's on the meta level. Questioned who got, and several of them did get out, not all of them, but several of them. It takes time to get lockpicks going, and the prison would be a rather inopportune place to go cell to cell. Mechanically speaking, that would be at an action per round, and so that's going to be 8 rounds of combat. So 7 actually, because they would have probably opened up the cell if they thought Nemesis was dead. But still, that's a couple enforcers in front of the prison working with. So it would make sense if there was someone who was maybe inside the gears who was working on Tevangard's side, which we know is a thing. It could be Eris, because they've already shown that they have some distaste for Ventheim and policies on magics. Whoever resurrected them, or if they were resurrected by a fellow aide, we don't know who the fellow aide is. And they chose Eris specifically over, like, the Duke, which would have shown loyalty to the cause. But that would mean that Eris and the Duke were in the same room as each other when they both died. Which means either someone from Tevangard specifically chose Eris to resurrect, which would make sense if Eris was aligned with Tevangard. If someone from Ventheim chose to resurrect Eris, that would be either against Eris's wishes, or I would honestly argue that it would be tantamount to like a treason for refusing to resurrect the actual leader in the room. So there's something strange about Eris. So, and if they're still in Tevangard now, sorry, if they're still in Ventheim now, and Ventheim is without its leaders, who is taking their place?
Hathor?
Because Ventheim, well, right, but the Gears are kind of the secret government, the actionable, the military enforcers, and so if Eris is actually a member of is actually Ventheimen. And they're playing a gear, playing a Tevin Guardian spy, playing a gear. I guess the question is, who resurrected them? Do we know who that is?
From what
I'm
I
sure
know,
Frigga's just kind of looking blind-eyed at it right now as he's...
From what I know, some druid that also happened to be in the room. They were having like some sort of meeting.
We ran into a couple of druids on our way out. One of them brought Erebus back. Could there be a connection between them? And if so, those druids were on our side. Or, well, they were really more equal opportunity exploiters, but, like, they were functionally on our side. We would work together well with them. And so then they would have chosen Erebus. Which... Still, why? Because the Duke would have been the one with the money, the one who would have been able to...
Well, you know how the Duke was.
Stuffy old noble, right, but, like, noble.
Not just that, he was an asshole about necromancy and all that. Do you really think if they tried to bring him back, that would have gone over well? With him, personally?
What would he have done about it?
I don't know.
You can't make a choice when you're not alive. He might not have liked it, but...
Actually, you
if Eris was loyal to the cause, he wouldn't. Sorry, it's first time on me, but, like... I don't know, it just feels... It feels like we're being set up. It feels like everything is going unnaturally well.
Have you considered that maybe we're just that good, or they're just that bad?
I mean... Don't like to say it, but yeah... Just...
All eight of us broke out because one guy played dead.
Yeah. I'm glad you're here. I might not look it, but I think this is getting to me a bit more than I expected. Which...
It's only understandable. We're days away from flying out and starting this battle.
What's it like? The battles, the skirmishes. I don't know it. I've readied myself for it, but I don't know it. I fought this guy a couple times, but been a spider, been a witch. It's never been a unit, never been a party, never been an army. I mean, we've got a dragon that I'm going to be sitting in the cockpit of. flying over our lands. Flying over the lands that we lived in for years. Lighting it on fire, as they deserve, but... it feels wrong. It's impersonal. Feels... it shouldn't be this easy. I don't know. Don't know.
I don't know either.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
We got it. We're gonna do this. Everything's gonna be perfectly fine. City will fall from the skies. At the end of the day. We'll figure it out. No plan survives contact with the enemy, and if something doesn't go wrong, we just need to plan for what our best case scenario is. And then comes the difficult process of what's next. But I'm not a leader. That's your job. That's Bresok. That's everybody else, really. So I don't have to figure that out.
Yeah.
I don't want to figure that out right now
Makes
because
things easier.
let's go put this guy in the ground for the last time. Or, I don't know, maybe follow Hiffin's words and spellcraft and whatnot. It's, I'm sure, much more technical and cool than that.
Do you want me to come with you?
I mean, sure. I think they're cooking up some harpy eggs in there. It smells really good.
I'm surprised. So much for a nature reserve. Let me just... because they would not be there anymore. So... you and Frigga start heading into the jungle.
Okay.
It's not hard to find.
That's fair. I know you've shared this map before, but it still looks so good.
Thank you. There she is. You find a small clearing where no trees were planted and the foliage is thinner. There's a... my dad is home with food.
Hey, Gotcha.
So I'll be right back.
You're all good. Enjoy.
I am back.
Oh.
Okay. There. I'm just gonna get right back into it. There is a hole dug in the soil with the mound nearby. And already laying inside it is Erebus. Flat on his back, eyes closed, hands folded over his chest. There's almost an air of peacefulness about him, but the red and pink stains in his hair towards the back of his head are tarnishing that illusion.
Yeah.
I'm glad you can make it.
Second time's the charm, right? Yeah.
One of the first things you notice is Hiven has changed clothes and now wears darker blue robes. And because of the shorter sleeves, you can really see how much that blue discoloration has spread.
Oh, yeah. That's substantial. Rayos looks at it closely, carefully, but ultimately doesn't get it. Hivid doesn't seem to have an issue with it, so he's not going to worry.
What do you say or do?
Reyes will walk right up to the side of the hole, and he's going to pull a couple things out of his bag. I think Erebus is dressed just like he is here.
Yes.
Okay. Rayos pulls out of his bag two things and wraps one inside of the other. The first being the set of lockpicks. He will go ahead and just kind of roll that up into a tattered and worn brown piece of cloth that he has kept in his bag since the moment he took it off and the first time that he took this guy out. He takes the lockpicks, rolls them up in his Ventheim scarf, and just kind of places it in there next to him. Now there's small speckles of blood here and there from different scrapes and all, and kind of just rests it right by the head. Looks down to him for when you get out again, because you and me, we both know you'll figure something out. And best to have a way back home. Remember it by. deserve that. Just kind of places that in there. And just kind of steps back. Thus serving two functions, getting rid of any evidence that would be on him. But also having a little bit of a slightly clever thing. A nice message sent off.
You see, Hivid reach down and adjust the positioning a little so that he's laying his head on the scarf as though it's a pillow.
Rouse just kind of slight nod.
I never had the pleasure of getting to know Erebus personally. The time I had with him wasn't the best to get to know someone, especially to the level I think most people here got to know him. It's a shame that the very thing that allowed you to get to know him on a deeper level also made him one of our enemies. May he rest in peace. Although the battle is going to be against the Gears, against his country, unlike the rest of us, he won't have to go through war. If there's anything anyone would like to add, please.
Chaos is silent.
Everyone else is too. Although Nemes in particular does turn and walk away a few steps. And I think with that, Hivid's going to head over here, retrieve the shovel, and start filling in the hole.
Okay. This will help. And then kind of right when it's done, and everyone's heading off, he just seems to kind of pause, heading away from there, just kind of standing by the tree, back to it. Almost half expecting to see a ghost run by him, and he just lets it run, just keep going. On forever. Then eventually, just deep breath, moves on.
Okay. That is that then.
Oh.
You all head back to the main area. What do you do now?
Breakfast. And lots of it.
I'm just gonna be honest, I know we've been going through this rapid fire, but breakfast has passed. It's lunch now.
The sentiment stands. Lunch.
It's-
and lots of it.
Yes, that's fair. I think for lunch, the four of you stick together. Although Nimbus doesn't eat because he doesn't have to. But it's basically just the four of you. Potentially five if Faya stops. If Faya decides to join. What do you do or say? If anything.
Doesn't really have anything. There's nothing more that he can say, that he knows he needs to. He's kinda just okay being a little bit awkward in the silence.
That's completely fair. Lunch goes by without noteworthy incident. And you're basically free to go about the rest of your day as you see fit.
Okay. In my mind, as the player, I think that Reyes would be probably heading towards... Probably just doing more work and maneuvers with the blaze. But I also know that this would probably be a decent opportunity for Faya and any discussions that she would maybe want to try and have about things that Duck may or may not. So I don't know what the proper call there would be.
I do have things potentially planned regarding the blaze and for the night.
Okay. Let's do it.
I don't mind running through the day again with Faya because she's got a pissed off tiefling to deal with on this day.
Fair. So, okay, so yeah, Reyes would get the blaze up and running. Maybe not with Frigga this time. Just kind of seeing how advanced he can get with different maneuvers.
Alright.
But also working towards just basic mastery is a strong word, but full system. Like, get to the basics and kind of have a strong grasp on that, or at least stronger than he is currently. Just reinforcing that, the actions to do so.
Where do you fly the blaze?
Probably keeping within a mile of the aviary.
Gotcha. Could you roll me a D100?
Okay. $15.
At some point, as part of flight training, you take the blaze towards Rezok's armada, which is a bunch of airships that are hovering in this area.
Okay.
You don't notice anything or anyone in particular as you fly around and between them, even. At some point, though, you do feel like you're being watched. Not necessarily in an uneasy way, but I suppose a way to put it is someone, more than likely multiple someones, are watching the show.
Okay.
Oh. Wrong ship.
Nope.
I'm sorry, I just noticed that I had a completely different ship in the lower ether for Grezok.
Oh.
What do you do, if anything?
He might attempt us. I'm trying to think of what would be a proper, like, maybe small stunt.
I'll let you think about that for a moment.
Yeah. Because, like, if he did, like, a bit of a forward dive, pull the wings in, and then catch himself, that would immediately cause the tail to whip under, and that could very easily cause damages that he doesn't want to be responsible for. Likewise, a drop in quick recovery would put him out of the way of... He's done that before, but... I'm sure they've seen it as well.
Could always block out the sun.
Sure, let's give it a shot. So just
Performance with advantage?
Okay. Performance is...
I imagine it's okay.
It is +2.
That is okay.
Yeah. First roll is a 5. Second roll is a 20. So, yeah. Advantage definitely saves. So, as he's going up, there's a bit of a moment where there's just, like, a hesitation. There seems to be almost a struggle to gain altitude, and Brass is probably figuring at this point, okay, it's probably hitting a peak where the air's kind of thinning out, and it's unsustainable to fly up here without falling back down and becoming a comet. So this is about the height limit that he could go for, and he will kind of just try and obscure, like, cast a shadow over most of the ships. Or at least the ship that there seem to be people watching from.
It is multiples at this point.
Cool.
You do this. And it looks simultaneously about as tropish for us, but they would have never seen anything like that before, so it's very impressive and awe-inspiring.
Simulated eclipse. And he'll kind of just immediately dive back down and kind of go into a bit of a circle beneath the island. And then kind of head back up. Kind of just go back to standard drills. Probably do some tests with the flamethrowers. Just for the fun of it.
The
be a little bit
flamethrowers
chummy
are
as well.
fun.
Yeah.
There is something fun about pressing that button and watching fire spew out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But with that, you'll finish your routine for today.
I'll just kind of bring it back in, pack it up, then probably he would just kind of retreat to the lounge area over here and just kind of take it a bit easy there. Just within the bunker.
Go ahead and put yourself back wherever you want to go. Did you hear me?
Yep, I'm
Okay.
just trying to find my token.
To the right of New Aviary. Zoom in on Brass
Oh,
Blaze.
yeah, there, that's... There we go.
I'll just put the blaze back where it belongs.
I knew it had to be here somewhere, I just couldn't.
It's a big map.
It really is.
The token's tiny in comparison.
Mm-hmm. He would probably find his way over to probably the large couch here and just kind of lay down, flip through some of the books on the shelf. Overall, just take some time on his own.
About how long do you spend down here?
Probably about maybe about a half hour before he eventually heads topside to get food.
Okay, just wondering.
Yep. Just a lot to think through, and
Lot going on today.
if he can avoid being the center of attention, that would be great.
Just a second.
You're good.
When you get back up topside, where you're no longer in the seemingly somewhat anti-magic confines of below New Aviary, You hear a voice in your head.
Okay.
Impressive flying today. Keep it up. I look forward to seeing what else you get up to with it.
Does he recognize the voice?
Yes. You recognize the voice of your boss. Aros Prefagna of the Third Tower.
Okay. That just kind of catches him a little off guard. Thanks. It's been good to learn. Getting everything ready for when we have to head out. That's about it. That's what he'd kind of try and think back. Because been a while since someone talked to him in his head, because the last one was Resound.
Resound's the last voice you want to be hearing in your head.
So, you know, I just imagine that he's getting up, kind of like putting the thing back, and then all of a sudden just like hears that and just drops the hatch and just like, yep, forgot about that feeling.
Plays it cool as that hatch makes a loud clanging sound that gets everyone's attention.
Mm-hmm. Good old sending.
You don't hear anything else for the rest of the day.
Cool.
It is starting to get late by the time you bring Brass Blaze in.
You know, he would grab food, kind of try and stay to himself, then make his way over to the barracks.
Is there any...
Definitely going through it, but like...
Sorry, go ahead.
He's definitely kind of just going through it, but like still trying to focus himself on being aligned for the cause.
Is there anything you'd like to do before turning in?
I really... There wouldn't be anything specific, no.
Okay. In that case, let me just reset this in a way. Okay. That night, Reyes, as you sleep, you have a dream.
Okay.
You find yourself standing in a field of wildflowers. Blue, partly cloudy skies stretch above you. You can see mountains in the distance, a small lake. A soft wind blows through. It's peaceful.
Immediately on edge, because he doesn't really feel peaceful.
What do you do?
Look for any tracks or signs of other people or creatures around him.
Perception check.
+6. $12 total.
You don't find tracks, but as you look around, you do see another person in this field with you. A little bit in the distance.
Do I have my rifle?
No.
Oh boy. Harass would approach, carefully and slowly, stealthily.
You do have your scimitar, though, I'll say that. Roll stealth.
Okay. Ooh, +10. I actually am good at stealth.
Yes.
I forgot that. I don't use it that often. It's the rogue stuff. 18 total.
As you sneak up on this person. Oh boy. You do successfully sneak up quite a ways. And you get to about the point where you're standing right now on the map when you recognize them.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yep.
What do you do?
Takes his blade and just kind of plants it in the ground. Walks past it. And just approaches.
Upon sticking the blade in the ground, he turns around. and
Well, this is awkward.
just sort of looks at you. Do you have anything to say for yourself?
At him asking me.
Yes.
Here I thought funerals were supposed to be kind of a speak now or forever hold your peace sort of thing. I don't. I just don't. Nothing more for me to say or do.
Do you regret it?
And he just kind of is there looking guilty. A bit. Yeah. But it's a bit, yeah.
It was quick, if that's any reassurance.
Some. He raises your hand to see if he can grab at any of the flowers, just to
You can.
see if they're real.
You do so, and yeah. You can pick a few if you so desire.
He pulls a few up and then just kind of lets them fall. Just curious.
He's just sort of...
What did you do when you joined the Gears?
What do you mean?
I mean, I joined under false pretenses. Can't say it was authentic, but what made you? What did they have you do?
I started off on airships, part of a crew. Gradually rose up through the ranks over the years.
Moving birds.
Towards the end, yes, but monitoring the borders, making sure shipments from place to place went unharassed. Monitoring the skies. It was more than just the birds.
Are they ready for what's coming? Do you think they have a chance?
I'm not sure. I wouldn't think so, though. If you don't tell your people about what you're preparing, how can they be prepared if it ends up being used against them?
Where were you running to? Where were you gonna go?
I was going to take one of the smaller airships to the Savannah of Exiles and lay low there. Wait for everything to blow over. And once it did, what came next, I think, would have depended on the results of the conflict. No matter what, though, I never was going to go back to the Gears.
Think they're gonna stick around?
The Gears?
In one way or another. Some form, some place.
They'll... I'm sure they'll find a way. But I see great changes coming to them.
No more big dragons. What even comes next? Seems like most of everything's been, you move forward one day after the next. But like big picture, what's next? Let's say we win. You seem to think so, I seem to hope so. What's even the point? We revive others, we revive our people, you don't. We share a border, separated by the mountains. We've feuded here and there, but like... everyone said it would always happen. Got told that myself. Got told I'd start it. Kinda did. But like, what's... when the smoke clears from the streets, what happens next? Because that's what I'm not ready for. That's what I don't know comes after. Do we just pack up, fly back, call it a victory? Do we take over the city? Throw out the leaders, unite the continent? The people down below. How do they play into it? I don't know.
Is that even for you to decide?
I've got a couple choices. I'm flying a giant, couple 1,000-pound brass dragon. Whatever I choose, something's going to happen. It's going to happen whether I choose it or not, but I can steer a ship. Never finished learning how to fly an airship. Learned to fly a dragon. I don't... It's... being a spy is weird. Because Ventheim was never home, but I lived there most of my life. Spent more time there than I did anywhere else. So in a way it is, but it's not. I was never there for them, but I was always there for... I was always there. But if I choose to save or destroy anything of my choice. At what point is that breaking order, breaking command? At what point is just ruthless aggression and destruction the point? Because that's what they want, it seems. They won't answer on what's next. I don't even know if they know. All I know is if I do my job, something comes. But the job I do depends on what it is. We roll in. We light the city up. Do we just leave? Is there something we're looking for? Something we want? Do we just call that peace? Call it good?
It's not the city. It's the gears you need to be focusing on.
So the answer for this, but it's just what would you do? What's your plan? If you had to fly in there, rain, fire, and storm, what's your plan?
I'd target and take out the leaders. And at this point, that would mean Hathor.
So that's it. Be it then. One and just move. Wander away. Return home. Say we won, and watch as time passes by.
We'd even do the same.
I get the feeling this is... no. I don't... So this is all there is.
Of?
Live with that. Why do I feel like... No. He's just kind of going through bits, and he doesn't... Nothing of them is coming to an end. He doesn't have a plan for how it ends. He doesn't know what happens. And he just can start anything, but he can't. He's having trouble seeing it to the end.
The way I see it, Reyes, is if you truly started this whole thing, you need to finish it.
Don't really have a choice, but yeah. Hathor. That's the one.
Go out there. Fight for what you believe in. Defend what you believe in. And show us that it's time for change.
Were there other places in the new aviary that you were delivering to?
No.
Places off the map, secret.
I can guarantee you, New Aviary and Ventheim are the only machines of their kind. Floating structure.
I guess I've got... This feels really...
Yes?
So... What's the plan? This liminal space here, beachside, water, sand. I'm certain you've hit most of the points already. Bit of a head start. What's... You're hanging around. I'm betting I'm not going to... I'm betting I'm gonna be... I'm sure this isn't the last time I'm going to see an environment like this. What's the plan? Because you're a leader, you're a planner. You have solutions where there are none. I don't know. But I'll go ahead and cause some change.
Continue practicing with the dragon. Connect with it.
How? It's... Connect with it how? You make it sound like there's some sort of mystical thing. It's... Is there something more to it?
I think if you talk to the others, you might learn there's more to it than meets the eye. Look through the builder's notes.
The red gem? I mean, they're stealing our design aesthetic. It's ours. It's fire. Rubies. Red. Oh, okay. Here. Your folks, they're not going to get wrapped up in this.
Thank you.
I promise. He just kind of looks away.
You feel a hug wrap around you.
Rayos doesn't know how to react. He hasn't had... No one has ever done that to him in decades.
It'll all work out.
I'm trusting you, Commander. Captain.